BBQ review. This time we are going to be reviewing The Gambler, starring Mark Wahlberg, John Goodman, and Jessica Lange. In The Gambler, Mark Wahlberg stars as a college English professor who has a bit of a gambling problem. Okay, to say he has a bit of a gambling problem is undermining it. He has a very big gambling problem. This guy is a degenerate gambler, and he can't hold on to money long enough before he blows it all on any sort of gambling table, be it roulette, blackjack, poker, what have you. Now, in the beginning of the movie, you learn that Mark Wahlberg comes from a wealthy family. He has had stuff handed down to him and given to him all his life. He is very privileged. And with his grandfather's passing, he inherits a good amount of money. Also, in learning this, you learn that he has racked up a considerable amount of debt with an underground gambling establishment. Now, instead of winning his money and paying off the debt, he keeps going that extra mile and he loses it. And throughout the movie, he becomes indebted to other gambling establishments, loan sharks, what have you. And this guy just keeps digging himself deeper and deeper and deeper until he is at a dead end and he has nowhere else to go but further down. Now, in hearing they were going to be remaking the 1974 James Caan movie of the same name, I was a bit intrigued. Be it I haven't seen the original James Caan movie, but I got the original premise. It was a very dark and gritty and good character study on the addiction of gambling. Now, first I want to say, Wahlberg does a great job. With the script and everything that was given to Wahlberg, he did a very good job playing the role of the gambler. Wahlberg does play a teacher in here, and for those of you who have seen The Happening, don't be alarmed. He does a way better job as an English professor in college than he does as a high school science teacher. It was very awkward dialogue in The Happening, and here it's more natural, but he's very full of himself, but it plays better than The Happening. Now, with the supporting roles, you have John Goodman, Jessica Lange, and Michael K. Williams. Michael Williams does a great job for what he's given. He has the most screen time out of the supporting actors, and he does a great job. John Goodman, in his limited 15-minute role, which in the trailer looked more prominent, more promising than what was given to us, John Goodman gives the best performance for the supporting characters in this movie. He's very menacing as another loan shark that Mark Wahlberg owes money to. He's very good. The stuff you see in the trailer is basically all you're going to get from him, but he does good nonetheless. Jessica Lange is very limited in this movie. She plays Mark Wahlberg's mother, and she's barely in the movie, and the scenes between them are not heartfelt. There's a backstory between them that they don't divulge on, they don't go into, and I would have liked to know more about their history together instead of just her popping up in a few scenes to give him money, they argue, and then you don't see her again. It was a pointless kind of story to bring up if they weren't going to flesh it out. It was very pointless. Now, the one thing I want to say is the pacing is very good in this movie. It gets you from A to B pretty quick, but there are some scenes in the middle that kind of drag, and while the movie is basically supposed to be about Mark Wahlberg and his gambling addiction, at least that's what the trailer shows you, it's not. It kind of goes into this little subplot where Mark Wahlberg and one of his students, he has two students where they kind of do these little subplots on. One student, who is a basketball player, he has the most interesting plot tie-in, but there's another subplot with a female student, and I didn't buy the relationship at all. It just seemed very tacked on and forced and wasn't needed for the movie. When Mark Wahlberg was in the casinos and gambling his money away, I got brief glimpses of, say, like Nicolas Cage from Leaving Las Vegas. Great movie about just alcohol addiction and a man's life just going in a downward spiral, and he knows that's where it's going, and so he just keeps going for that because he knows there's no good end, there's no good outcome for him. Now, not since Leaving Las Vegas have I seen a movie deal with an addiction that really made me kind of like really not want to see anymore, because it just hurt me so much just to see this guy go through this terrible process. A movie hasn't done that since like Flight with Denzel Washington, also starring John Goodman as a supporting character. Now, that movie was very great because it dealt with Denzel Washington's alcohol addiction, and that was the primary focus about how this guy would just go back and beat himself into the dirt, and he just didn't know when to quit. This movie, The Gambler, had that same story. A guy that didn't know how to quit his gambling addiction. They just didn't go into it and focus on that story as much as those other movies did. And I wish they would have, because seeing him at the table just really made you just want to reach through the screen and slap him. Like, what the hell are you doing, man? You're losing everything. The one thing I can carry away from it is that towards the end, John Goodman, Mark Wahlberg had this whole fuck you speech. And if you watch the Red Band trailer, you can see the best scene of the movie. So overall, The Gambler had good performances that kept this serviceable film afloat, had some storylines that really didn't need to be there, had some storylines that needed to be fleshed out, It showed promise to be a good Leaving Las Vegas flight-style movie about hardcore addiction, and it didn't really go there. It could have been a way better film than it was. Only thing good about this movie are the performances. And for that, I'm going to give the film 2.5 stars out of 5. Yeah, this film was kind of a bust, especially for Mark Wahlberg and the acting and writing and directing talent behind it. It should have been something more than it was, and it just wasn't. So that's why I got what I got. Also, if you guys want to leave a little love below, subscribe to my page, like it. You can follow me on my Twitter at @CEquinoa, or you can follow me on Facebook, Chris Equinoa. I hope you guys like the review. I like making them for you, and later on I'm going to see Into the Woods, and I will be reviewing that next. And until next time, see you guys later.